Hey, you guys, it is day 7. I can't believe it. And we are going to do more Q&A today. So, I have some questions that you all submitted and some questions that carry over from yesterday and the day before and every other day that we have been going on. And you guys have some great questions. One of the first questions was around what are the essential soft skills? And I think I listed some of these on Monday. I believe it was on Monday, day 1. But I want to go back through a list of what some of the essential power skills. They've been called soft skills for so long. And like I've said, corporations are now actually calling them power skills. All right. So, what are the essential power skills, not just soft skills? These are power skills. These are the skills that are differentiators for what's happening in the world that we exist in right now. So, I just want to go through a list of these real quick for you. We already talked about emotional intelligence, EQ, right? We talked about that on day 2. We have talked about adaptability and resilience, how important AQ is and how important resiliency is and what that looks like. We've already talked about that. We've also talked about having difficult conversations, right? So that is also one of the top skills. Conflict resolution is another one. Creativity and innovation, critical thinking, leadership, collaboration, developing effective leadership strategies. So, it is a long list of these skills, and we're going to talk in a little bit about how these impact you. But that's a list. So another question that came in was, how do I develop these skills, right? How do I develop effective power skills? How do I develop effective leadership skills? What does that look like? Just, in a summarized format, what does it look like to develop effective leadership skills? So the first thing is self-reflection. Okay. You want to really figure out, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your values? What are your goals? Right. You've probably heard the phrase of SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You can do one of those, but you also want to look at what are your values and what are your goals. And also reflect on, what is your style? I have mentioned this week the DISC assessment, the Myers-Briggs assessment, and several other assessments. Take those assessments, take a strengths finder, find someone who can walk you through what your results mean. I am certified in DISC assessment and can help you with that if you're interested in taking a DISC assessment. And there's Kolbe. I know quite a bit about that. You can take the Kolbe test online. I think it's about $35, $40, something like that, to take that one. Strengths finders, I believe, is somewhere around the same. And if you need someone who can give you what your results mean, I have a couple of different people who specialize in strengths finders and will be happy to get you the details on that. So there's a lot of different ways to figure out what your style is and really get clear on your way of operating, right? You also want to set some really clear goals and a clear vision for where you are wanting to go to be an effective leader, to really dig into this particular power skill. Seek feedback, okay? Seek feedback. Seek it from people above you, people below you, people on either side of you, right? Seek it from family members, seek it from friends, seek it from community, any place where you are having interaction with humans where these power skills could be used, and they can be used anywhere. So seek feedback. And don't take it personally. Just listen to the feedback. Excuse me. Receive it, and take it for what it's worth, and know that it's someone else's perception of you. How are you coming across? What is their perception of you, right? And then who are some role models? Who are some role models that you can study? Whether you're reading their bios, whether it's someone that you can go to as a mentor, hiring a coach that you respect, and that really knows this topic that can help you, right? There's mentors, there's coaches, there's lots of different role models that are out there. People, people that are, celebrity styles, right? And then continuous learning, okay? Continuous learning, whether it's books, courses, personal development, going to events, seeking training. If you work for a corporation, seek the training. If you are in a community and maybe the chamber has ongoing training, the small business development centers that are often associated with different universities, with state universities, usually have different training. So seek all of that. Active listening, work on your active listening. Find out what that really means, right? Work on your active listening, being able to really hear and listen to what people are saying. Work on your EQ, your emotional intelligence. Work on delegating and empowering people. Work on supporting people, being a resource. There's a lot of different aspects to this. Lead by example. Lead by example. How do you want to be led? Then lead that way. Who do you need to be in order to be the leader you want to be? Start being that person. Start acting as if right now in whatever role you're in. Okay. Taking ownership. I am a big proponent of 100% responsibility 100% of the time. That does not mean blame. That means responsibility. Taking responsibility for what you will do in response to what is going on. Okay? You're not in control of everything. You're not to blame. It's not about guilt. It is, look, here's where we are. Here's where I am. Here's what's happening. Here's what I get to do in order to impact it going forward. And taking 100% responsibility for doing that. Then be a role model. I think I talked about that. Oh, lead by example, be a role model. Integrity and accountability, huge, right? Operate from integrity. Find a way to have accountability. Be accountable to yourself, be accountable to others, have others be accountable to you, right? Professionalism, and seek out leadership opportunities. Seek them out, whether it's in your community, whether it's at your kids' school, if you're working for an organization, seek out those opportunities. Can you lead a committee? Can you take over a department? Is there opportunity for you to step into team lead roles? If you are building a business, how do you get to lead that business, right? All right, so that is how do you develop these skills, right? How do you develop these power skills? How do you develop effective leadership skills? Then let's see, what is this next question here? Excuse me. What does a leadership coach do? And why would I want a leadership coach? All right, so a leadership coach does a lot of different things. And different leadership coaches are going to look at different aspects of this whole leadership realm. They can provide feedback and objective feedback and assess where you are. They can help you set goals, get clarity on your goals and your values and your vision, personalized development plans, right? helping you get clear on what it is that's important to you, right? Really getting into your head and figuring out what's clear, what your goals and values are, and what it is that you truly want to do to become the fulfilled person that you want to be. Skill building. A lot of coaches out there will work with you to do skill building. And if they're a great coach, they're going to be able to, as you work through what it is you're wanting to achieve, help point out which skills you're strong in, and they will help you come up with a plan to develop the ones where you need to strengthen yourself, right? And then they will also provide accountability and motivation. Okay. Accountability and motivation doesn't mean that they are just an accountability coach. If you have a really good coach, they are going to have you hold yourself accountable. They're just going to give you a process to do that, right? Because part of this whole leadership thing is being able to hold yourself accountable. Yeah. Holding yourself accountable. Teaching you to hold yourself accountable. How often do you put something on your calendar for yourself? And I've been guilty of this. I've been guilty of this, and I'm still sometimes guilty of it. How often do you put something on your calendar for yourself and you let it slide? But if you have something on your calendar for someone else, you don't let that slide because you got someone else, right? So someone else involved. So, holding yourself accountable, building that accountability muscle, right? So if you have a really good leadership coach, if you have a good transformational coach, that is one of the things that they are going to build for you, because it is essential in developing all of these power skills that we're talking about. Role modeling, they will role model for you the things that they are coaching you on, and demonstrate, right? They'll be able to also perhaps do role playing with you, helping you build that muscle for yourself, not just observing them, but also role playing with them. Helping you self-reflect. Earlier, I said, what are things that you need to do it to develop these skills? A leadership coach will help you do that self-reflection. They will help you assess where you are. They will help you develop that self-awareness. They will give you tools, ask you the right questions to help you pull out what's going on, the meaning that you're putting to things, the story that you're putting to things, so that you can bring those things. You keep hearing me talk about this. What is on the subconscious brain that's driving 80 to 90+% of every decision, action, and result that you get? We don't see our own blind spots. An effective leadership coach, an effective transformational coach is going to help you see what are your blind spots, help you see those blind spots, and what you want to do, get to do, decide to do to no longer have those as blind spots, help you see the stories that you have made up, the meaning that you are giving to things. Do you still want to hold on to that meaning? Do you still want to hold on to those stories, right? They're going to help you uncover all of that. So they will also give you support and help you grow and celebrate the wins, right? Because often, as a high performer, as a high achiever, we don't take the time to celebrate. You're a high performer if you're listening to this. So tell me, how often do you celebrate your wins? Or are you like most of us who are high performers? We're like, yep, check, and then on to the next thing. So here's why celebration is super important and why an effective leadership coach will help you do this. Your brain really needs that celebration piece in order to recognize and get the neurochemicals flowing that help you want to do more of the goodness that doing this development work will do for you. It will help the dopamine. It will help the serotonin. It will help all of the different neurochemicals that are going on, supporting you building these habits. Because here's what happens when you don't do that. then all you're doing is adding to the adrenaline, adding to the cortisol, adding to, because it's just adding more and more and more stress. Now, I can get into a whole thing about what this looks like and what it does to your body and why you need to do this versus not doing that, et cetera, et cetera. I can get off on a tangent on that. You want to be doing the things that will really enhance the good hormones, the good neurochemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, the things that make you excited about doing more and more and more of this. Okay. So boosting confidence and boosting your effectiveness by helping you with all of these different areas. A really good coach will help you in every single one of these aspects. All right. So the last question that someone was asking was around how do I get to enhance communications and do relationship building? What does that look like, and what are the impacts of, what is the impact of continuing to develop these skills, right? Where do these skills get applied in a work environment, right? We know that they can get applied in a personal environment in so many different ways, with your significant other, with your children, et cetera. But in a business environment, know that these skills can be applied in a whole list of different functions, departments, et cetera. So think about enhancing, like I said, communications, right? Because you're coming from a place of empathy. You're relating better with the people around you. It also positively impacts, or negatively, if you're not building the skills, it negatively impacts relationship building, rapport building. So if you are really working on these power skills that we've been talking about, and the other ones that we'll talk about on Monday and Tuesday, and those that we haven't yet touched on, right, and won't have time to touch on, but knowing what they are and really working on them will help with your leadership, right? It helps with just your leadership management, and it helps with your personal leadership, and it helps with the leadership of others. Okay. It impacts your adaptability and resiliency. So learning these power skills are key to enhancing your adaptability and resiliency. We've talked about this several times now. And then customer service and sales. You think adding some of these things that we've already talked about, whether it is the EQ, the AQ, empathy, having difficult conversations, all of these are great things that positively impacts when you are practicing these skills, when you learn these skills and have them down pat. It positively impacts both customer service and customer relations, and sales, right? Think if you're sitting across the table from someone trying to sell them on something and you have these skills down pat, might be able to positively impact your bottom line on your sales too, right? Think about that. Think about who the best salespeople are. They are empathetic. They are active listeners. They do know how to build rapport, right? And then collaboration and teamwork. Think about how when you're trying to collaborate with someone and you're not using empathy, or you're not doing active listening, does collaboration really help? Or when you're not paying attention to different styles. I talked about that when I was talking about me being a high D, trying to speak with someone who's a high S. If I come at them with my high D, DISC assessment, right? Understanding the styles. If I come at them with my high D and they are a high S, they're probably going to be like a deer in the headlights, right? Because it comes across as being aggressive. It comes across as being like a bull in a china shop. All right. So professionalism and ethics, career advancement, customer and stakeholder relations, right? Customer and stakeholder relations. When you are really perfecting these skills, and by perfecting, I don't mean that you have them down perfect, because it's going to be an ongoing learning process. We can always up level. There's always room for growth. There's always room for growth. There's always room for growth. Okay. When there's an opportunity to score myself 1 to 10 on something, with 1 being low and 10 being high, I rarely give myself a 10, because I always think I could do something better in that area, right? So there's always room for growth. And then personal fulfillment. All right, personal fulfillment. This is something that I want you to take in and really think about everything that we've already talked about. How will this impact your personal fulfillment? Listen, I'm going to tell you, before I started really leaning into all of this, I didn't understand just how much these skills impacted my own personal fulfillment. I shared a little bit, I guess a couple of days ago, on, when I was going through my divorce, I realized how much my childhood had negatively impacted the habits that I had developed of not connecting with people and building walls and not really understanding how to be empathetic and not being able to relate, right? Because I didn't relate. Like I said, I moved over 60 times. I was in 13 different schools between kindergarten and my senior year of high school. And, so I didn't have those basic skills that, a lot of people learn as children. And so what that did was that had this big gap between me and everyone else. And when I started doing professional development prior to my divorce, so I was hearing about some of it, but when I went through my divorce, I realized that I didn't want the rest of my life to be impacted the way that my marriage, and I was married for 22 years, you guys. I mean, it wasn't a short marriage. And I know that the things that I did wrong, I can't change anything that my ex-husband did or didn't do. But the things that I got to work on and the things that I still work on are these things that we're talking about, because these have been the most impactful in my life, from all of the things that we've talked about, and most importantly, from a personal fulfillment aspect. My relationships with my family are better. My relationships with my clients are better. I'm able to, have conversations with people that I was never able to do before. I can stand on a stage and speak to, a small group of people or a room full of thousands of people, and be able to connect with my audience, whether it's an audience of one or audience of, 100 or 1,000 or multiple thousands, right? Because I see them now. I see them, I feel them, I better understand their perspectives. And gosh, it's so much more fulfilling for me to be able to do that with the people that I come across. And that's what I want for you. So with that, I've mentioned a couple of times that I would love to offer you a consult call. It's just a consult call, helping you figure out, where are your blind spots? What do you need to do for your best next step, right? And then helping you find the right place to do that, whether that's me or somebody else. It's not a sales call. It is truly a helping you figure out what your best next step is. Okay. And the calls are 30 minutes. If you're interested in doing that, let me know. I would, what we'll do, you can either put it in the comments on whichever platform you're watching this. I think we're broadcasting on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook, and I can't remember where else. Make a comment and let me know if you're interested, or you can send a DM on any of the platforms as well. And let me know if we can send you that link to get a time scheduled on my calendar. And I look forward to those of you that I get to speak with, and those of you who have already scheduled. Can't wait to have those calls. And those of you who decide to do that going forward, I'm excited. It's the right step. It's the right step. I will tell you, when I first started seeking out people who could help me, man, it was so fantastic to be able to have someone call me out on my blind spots and help me put a game plan together. And that's what I want to do for you. So I look forward to chatting with you, and I will see you tomorrow. We will be digging into more of the power skills. So thank you for all the questions that you all submitted. And if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments or send me a DM, and I will be happy to either do bonus sessions. And by the way, again, make sure that you get signed up so that you get the additional information. I do have follow-ups that I'm doing on the days that I teach a particular topic. So go to the link that is on the screen just below my name, https /bit.ly/power skills pop-up. Make sure that you capitalize each of the words, just the first letter in each word. So capital P, capital S, capital P, capital U. All right. And because it makes a difference. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you.